Good.
Yeah.
I'm on right now. Hey, everybody. Hey, Jimmy, how are you? We're good. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. My name's Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the Region here on Indianapolis Boulevard, also on AM 1230, WJOB, and 104.7 FM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, I believe. And but in the mornings, early mornings, I like to come out here and just look at what's going on around the nation. So let's call this a JED in America. I get the feeling that a lot of people here locally that kind of watch, I do a few hours of radio here, and you get a little tired of what's going on at the national scene and you kind of just look away. So I figure I'll just start out the day and we'll talk about things. But let's talk about something that has both a national and a local appeal here in Hammond, Indiana, and in Chicago, Illinois, and in Maryville, Indiana, and all over the place. And that is the closing of Carson's stores. And the Carson's has been a big part of Chicago for a long time, right on the top of the Chicago Shib Room. It is right here. By the way, it's, what is it, April 19th of 2018. And it snowed overnight a decent amount that if you are in the Midwest, you might want to get out a little early and clean off your car. I had a good inch on my back window and on the top of the car. Even had to clean off the headlights. So it's just a weird world because, let's see, on Saturday I threw out the first pitch for Munster Little League. And they've been trying to play baseball here in Chicago for weeks now, and the Cubs just keep getting canceled like they did last night. So I don't know what to tell you, but here it is. Carson's will shut down its department stores by late summer after more than 160 years in operation. After parent company Bon-Ton Stores failed to find a bidder willing to keep the business going, a bankruptcy judge on Wednesday approved the sale of the company's assets, including Carson's and other retail chains, to a joint venture of two liquidation firms and a group of company bondholders. Now, the flagship of Carson Pirie Scott was once among a full lineup of showy department stores, including Marshall Field, Sears, Montgomery Ward's, Litton, Wiebolt, that called Chicago State Street home. None of those names can be found there today. Wow. The changes on State Street mirror changes in the broader retail industry, as many shoppers have traded department stores for specialty chains, discounters, and more recently online merchants. And it's not just State Street department stores that once drew shoppers to suburban malls are pulling back there too, creating large vacancies that are a challenge for weaker malls to fill. Now here in Northwest Indiana, we have South Lake Mall. They're going to lose Carson's. And then I'm standing out here on Indianapolis Boulevard. There goes the Tribune, where it belongs. And then right, let's see, we're at 171st, and that one is at 160, maybe 5th of, so it's about 5 blocks away. To my north is one of the more storied Carson's stores, as it was the anchor for Woodmar Mall for a long time, and then they knocked off all of the rest of Woodmar Mall and left Carson's. It's a weird look, really, in that you have this very tradition-filled department store. You walk in on the bottom floor, there's a huge perfume counter. They even have a shoe department, a lot of women's clothes on the first floor. Then you go up to the second floor, you go up an escalator, believe it or not. And then you get up that escalator, and then there's all sorts of men's clothes. And, you know, the Vulture, the Midwestern Vulture, just makes me want to think, I wonder what kind of sales they're having and when that's going to start. Because they actually have a pretty good suit department. You can buy a good suit over there. So it's going to be, it's kind of the heart of Hammond's retail. And actually is the main, I think the main anchor for a massive mall at the corner of Route 30 and I-65. So I don't know what's going to happen. Hundreds of people are going to lose their jobs here in Northwest Indiana. And if you're listening or watching, our heart goes out to you. I don't know what else to say, because at the same time you're going to lose your job, I'm just going to do another story of business. So let's just get all the business out of the way in the beginning, because as Bonton goes down and people lose their jobs, Morgan Stanley reported a record quarterly profit, the last of the U.S. big banks to benefit from a potential cocktail of lower taxes, active markets, reduced expenses, and a synchronous global growth. The Wall Street firm's first quarter profit of $2.6 billion and revenue of $11.1 billion were both records. So how's that feel? So what's really going on here? Well, let's see. You got record tax cuts for the wealthiest corporations and individuals in America. And then you have, about 275 people losing their jobs here at Carson's, right down the street, and then in Maryville. So I don't know what to tell you. It's, I've said from the beginning, one of the benefits of creating such confusion at the very top level of government is that often the folks that are affected most by big decisions in Washington aren't really understanding or even paying attention. But the biggest tax cut, basically what we did in America, is we gave a huge tax cut to the wealthiest corporations and people in America. And then we said, well, if we cut their taxes, it's going to stimulate the economy and it'll benefit everybody. It's, you know, kind of the start at the top, and let's see if we can't bring everybody else along. Let's see if it happens. Right now, it's a day that it's not happening. Closing Carson's, Morgan Stanley, $2.6 billion. There it is. All right, let's take a look at what else is going on. Speaking of confusion at the top, according to CNN and a couple of other news sources, President Donald Trump has called his most trusted, longtime confidant attorney and asked him, hey, what's going on? Asked him, what are the possibilities that Michael Cohen is going to turn on Donald Trump? And the longtime attorney said, if he's facing federal charges, he will turn, or he's facing criminal charges, he will turn on you. So as the world turns at the top, that is the latest in the Donald Trump ongoing entertainment. It's all fun and games till somebody gets hurt. You know, you're playing catch with the pillow in the living room, and you're doing it back and forth, and next thing you know, you and your brothers are kind of knocking each other over, and then one's wrestling with the other, and then you're playing catch, and then you're playing like kill the guy with the pillow, and then your mom's in the kitchen, and she's like, cut it out! Just cut it out! And then next thing you know, you got a couple cousins over, and you're doing the same thing, and then somebody hits their head, and then somebody's crying, and next thing you know, your mom's yelling at you because you're the oldest, and she's like, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And that's kind of what's going on at the national level. I don't know about you, I can't get enough of it. That's why I'm sitting out here doing this little JED in America segment, partly because I think a lot of local people here are like, man, I'm tired of looking at what's going on in the nation. I can't do anything about it, and it scares me. Okay, well, let's just break things down and look at what's happening. And what's happening now is the president's wondering, all right, did I really mess up with this stripper thing? I mean, maybe it started. You know, Kenny Gotti, he calls in, he's a landscaper. And he said that he lived in Hawaii for 18 years. And he said they're big into karma there. And you got to think about karma. So if indeed Dave Dennison / Donald Trump did have an affair while his wife was pregnant with it, well, he had the affair with the stripper, is that karma? Is that coming around? I mean, it's like, okay, go ahead, have an affair. But is it like off limits karma and the karma laws? Does anybody has the karma laws? Can you email them to me at jed@wjob1230.com? And in the karma laws, it says, you know what, you can, you know, if you're going to cheat on your wife, it's a breaking of the commandments, but not while she's pregnant, okay? And even if you do while she's pregnant, all right, that's really, really bad. But the number one thing you can't do is you can't do it while she's pregnant and with the stripper. All right, so let's add this together. Da, 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 la, la. All right, karma, go. It'll come back to you eventually. We'll just take our time. The karma police take their time. All right, what else is going on? Hey, hey, what's going on? Thanks for peeping. Big details coming out about the Southwest flight. Have you guys been watching this? The woman that was driving was a fighter pilot, and she was with the Navy forever. And they were doing, a lot of the news sources are doing a, I guess, an expose on her life, on what she had to go through just to get into the Navy, and they really didn't want to take her. And her calm is being credited with saving a lot of lives. Now, of course, one life was lost, and more details are coming out about those harrowing few moments. Basically, the right engine blew, and a propeller, or one of the blades inside of it, slipped off and opened the window, or hit the window above the wing. And when you do that, it creates this like vacuum out of the wing because of the what do you call it? The pressure. Guys, you know, fighter pilots in World War II would talk about, you know, getting shot and a little bitty hole and losing all your pressure in the cabin, and, you know, whole body's getting sucked out of very little cuts in the metal. And the basically that's what happened there. The woman was kind of sucked out, and they were able to pull her back in, or most of her back in, and they were unable to revive her. Did some CPR for the longest time, but mother, a 43-year-old mother of 2 children. And according to the Wall Street Journal, early clues point to an unexpected hazard in the deadly midair engine rupture and emergency flight landing of Southwest 1380. It's the engine cover. Southwest, the accident that killed a passenger, sent fast-moving debris into the jet's left wing, exterior of the plane's body, and inside the passenger cabin. Safety experts are asking whether U.S. regulators and engine makers have underestimated the role of the engine cover in the unlikely event engine parts break loose in flight. So if you guys are following this, Southwest is doing basically some sort of a ultrasound or x-ray of all of their engines. Hey, big truck! To see if there is, hey, another big truck! Big truck! Metal fatigue. I mean, we're familiar with that here in the industrial heartland, metal fatigue and making steel and putting it all together. A lot of machine shops right down the street here by Carson's that is closing. And I wonder what they're going to find. You know what I mean? Once they start doing the ultrasound, oh, you got a metal fatigue here on propeller number A4, and then you got to put the plane down. I mean, Southwest is such a finely tuned machine that they're always running and so tight, and all the seats are filled. And, you know, will they be able to taking even a few planes out of commission for a while? We'll see what happens there. All right, and then what else is going on in the world? Let's see, we got that. Oh, in terms of, there's hearings right now that are going on Capitol Hill for transit funding. And I know that doesn't sound like the most sexiest of topics, but it affects here locally as we're looking to put in 2 major trains. Hey, what's up? Thanks for peeping! And one is the Westlake extension along Indiana-Illinois state line, and then one is to double track, one that goes deep into the heartland of Indiana. And our Congressman Pete Voskowski testified yesterday, and according to the Times, or the U.S. Rep. Pete Voskowski testified before colleagues at the House Appropriations Committee yesterday in support of the grant program that would help fund the South Shoreline's major capital improvements projects. Congress is currently working on a fiscal 2019 federal budget. The South Shore hopes grants for its project will be included in it. If you guys remember, Donald Trump basically said he didn't want that entire program to continue to move on. All right, there it is. There's some stuff. Not a lot of like Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels, juicy stuff. I think Stormy Daniels' attorney is saying that he may sue Donald Trump for defamation, and every day that guy's is on national news, and every day that everybody that's associated with the administration just has to be going, ah, oh. I had a guy call in yesterday saying that in the old days, Stormy Daniels would have already disappeared by now. She's causing that much disruption to it could be disruption to the whole country at some point, but right now it's really kind of confined to Washington, D.C. But talk about disruption. If you guys are watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, it snowed last night right here, and it snowed a pretty good darn amount about it. As I could come out here and make a snowball right now and throw it at the window that just Jimmy Mullaney just so dexterously washed so that we could stand out here in the light. I don't know what's going on. It has just been so cold. It's the coldest April on record for like 137 years. And it is on top of one of the wettest Marches ever. And it has just been incredibly bad weather. I gotta say hi to this big truck. Big truck! You know how I know that's a big truck? It's BT Trucking. That's what it says on it. Big truck! BT, big truck! And what it's really done is that here in Northwest Indiana, Chicago area, that is all anybody will talk about right now, is how nasty the weather has been and how cold. Yesterday was a topper. I don't know about you guys. I don't ever really kind of feel like, you know, the blahs or just the blues or the droopies or whatever. And yesterday I just was like, you know, I'm tired of this. I went to a couple of meetings and came out and took my daughter to Minor Dunn Restaurant here on 41. And that's always a beautiful experience. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for beeping! But we were getting out of the car, and you got to put your hands up against the sleeting rain that's coming sideways, and it was 34 degrees. And look at me now, I'm wearing this big Corellis Roofing Goodyear Carhartt I got from Corellis years ago, and big turtleneck sweater on the outside, and you just got to bundle up and wear your gloves and hats. And baseball started 3.5 weeks ago. I mean, how is that possible? Big, big truck. So anyways, if you are anywhere near Chicago and you're feeling a little bit of the blues, I offer you this, that yesterday we watched a sunrise that was a beautiful sunrise. And then I'm like, man, everybody look at this sky. It is half of it is clouds and half of it's just totally clear, and you could just see the clouds approaching, and then they took over the sun, and then next thing you know, you got the droopies going to Minor Dunn Restaurant. But today we have a sunrise that is going to stay with us, and it's glowing out to the east, and it should stay sunny for a good portion of the day, and we might reach upper 40s, or might reach into the mid 40s. And then by tomorrow, we'll get into the 50s. And that's really as high as it's going to get for the next week or so. It's going to continue to be one of the coldest. What is it? The normal high's right around 60. Ryan, you going to walk in front of my camera? Huh? Anyways, I'm going to come inside. I'm not, hopefully this is the last snow day of the year. Hold on, I am going to grab a little bit of snow here and make a snowball. Why not, huh? Oh, there comes a big car. I won't do that. Wait till you. Hi, how are you? Thanks for beeping. You too. Everybody's beeping. Oh man, there's a big truck coming. I'm not going out there right now. Nope, can't do it. But I did a snowball this morning, picked it up and threw it at a tree, just because this should be it. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks for beeping. All right, guys. I'm Jim Deedlow, standing outside JED in America. It's just here in the Midwest, and it snowed. And we're all just kind of plunking along. Sad day for many people that might be listening right here in Northwest Indiana. 2 major Carson stores are going to close hundreds of jobs, and I don't know what to say. At the same time, Morgan Stanley, 2.6 billion profit. So everything's moving along well. I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in America here early, and then I'm going to go in and we're going to stop this Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we'll pick it up with JED in the region. I'll talk some local stuff. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, the voice and face of the region.